I'll talk about the violent crime, which is one of the focal points of what's happening here in Prince George's County. I don't think it's coming at anybody's surprise or secret, where we at on violent crime and where we've been over the last years and where we're trying to go. It's last year, it was, carjackings driving our violent crime across the board. And even though our homicides were quite high, they had went down from the previous years. But I always say one murder is way too many. The murders this year versus last year, was still one down with an 8% reduction. Our sex offenses are down -16. We're down 16, down -41%. Our robberies are slightly up by 3. This time last year, we had 209 robberies. This year, we have 212. That is at a positive 1%, which is +3. Our assaults are up by 7 offenses against last year so far. That's 180 to 173. That's a 4% increase. Our domestic violence is down so far this year with 151 in 2023, with 175, which is down 24 for a 14% reduction. Overall, our violent crime this year has been down 31 offenses, and that's a -5%. The total violent crime we've had so far this year has been 578 offenses as of today, or as of yesterday, I should say, and against 609 for last year. So our violent crime efforts, we're moving, we're moving pretty fast in trying to address the historical issues here. I think in different cities across the nation, major jurisdictions, I should say, some of them are showing progress again, for last year, 2022 against 21, and some did not. So it's been kind of all over the place. But one thing for certain, the violent crime year comparisons on homicide, in a historical view, 2021, we had 136 homicides. Juvenile arrests of those homicides were 14. Juvenile victims were 11, because I think we want to focus on what's happening with our youth. In 2022, we had 103 total homicides that we were investigating that was under our jurisdiction in Prince George's County. Juvenile arrests were 10, and juvenile victims were 7. So at least we showed a slight decrease on the arrest of juveniles and the victims, especially the victims. In 2023, so far this year, 12 year-to-date homicides compared to 13 last year. We're one under. One under right now. But last year, with the rise, in homicides or over, I always say, over 100. But so far this year, we've had 0 juvenile arrests. That's likely to change for sure. And we've had 1 victim this year so far who was a juvenile. The violent crime and homicides, of course, is near and dear to everyone because that's what we consider the most heinous of all crimes. Robberies of last year, without breaking them out, next slide, without breaking them out, you'll see 2022 versus 21, and we were up slightly, 12%, but 136 offenses kind of separated us in the year-to-date comparisons from 21 versus 22. The 22 to 23, where we are right now, we're up by 3 offenses so far, and that's a positive 1% in robberies. And, for those, that's when, by force or not, someone strong arms you or put a gun in your face or a weapon in your face and take. These are the gun recoveries and arrests. I think the Delegate Charles is gone. He frequently calls me or texts me about different issues, but he just talked about a few things there. So I'll talk about these guns that are out here, on our streets in Prince George's County, in this area with the high proliferation of guns. I think most of it plagues Maryland and D.C., not Virginia so much. But Maryland and DC have shown to have a major problem. Right up the road is Baltimore with a major problem. And a little further from that in Philadelphia is a major problem. And so we're seeing in the pipeline in this, the turnpike in the cities that's, up that pike having very major difficulties dealing with the gun issue that's going on in America. If you look at this chart, you'll see the 2022 and 2023. I wanted to show what we had in 2022 when we ended the year and had, 1,700 weapons that we actually seized, with 1,237 people who were arrested in 2022 who had an illegal firearm for, one reason or another. That's coupled with, the 1,021 and just under that in 2020. So you look at this and you say it's, 3,000 guns, that are on the Prince George's County streets in the past 3 years. The good news from the difference in 22 and what happened now is that we're showing those trends of going down for a lot of reasons. I don't want to make a bunch of variables on that. But a point of note from what Delegate Charles said, the ghost guns and where we at this year versus last year this time, we have 40 so far. This time last year we had 51 ghost guns from last year. And if you see the juvenile arrest from, with weapons, 21 gun arrests year to date, and 8 ghost guns recovered from juveniles who had ghost guns. And juvenile gun arrests, we had 98 and 54 ghost guns were recovered from juveniles in 2022. So that the problem is really big with guns, but again, not just here. Across the nation, people are struggling with the idea of how to police and what happens with the perpetrators who get caught with weapons. And Prince George's County sure has this fair number of. This is the carjackings, what seems to gather a lot of news-worthy items of what happens in carjackings. From last year, we've had elderly people carjacked, we've had juveniles carjacked. They've done the carjackings. We've had a few homicides we have solved from some of those that made major news that people were interested in the outcome. We have a very vibrant, homicide unit, and we have a very vibrant carjackings and addiction unit. And working hand in hand, we, tend to resolve a fair amount of those cases, which are highly difficult to bring forth an arrest, and probably more difficult to even prosecute in some cases. 2021. 391 vehicles were carjacked, and we had 161 arrests out of that. 72 of those were adults. In 2021, we didn't start tracking juveniles until late. And so, but we knew we had 89 of them that were charged as adults, and they were not tracked. So that problem was big, but we wasn't tracking it like that because carjackings here rose every single year. In 2021, when I arrived here, it looked almost out of control, which is why I created the carjacking and addiction unit in order to address the high volume of carjackings. 2022, 480 vehicles were carjacked across Prince George's County, not just under our jurisdiction, but across Prince George's County. And the total arrests were 216, adults 107, juveniles 109, and 58 of those were charged as adults, on the onset. I'm not talking about in the end, but on the early onset. 2023, this is where we are year to date, 87 vehicles. Have 87 offenses for carjackings. We've arrested 30 people for carjackings, 13 of those being adults. And there's that number again for juveniles, young people out carjacking, a very violent crime. I think some glamour added to it or something that people think is not a violent crime or something. I don't know. Somebody puts a gun to your head, and takes your vehicle, that's enough violence. For last slide, because I think property crime, counselor, you wanted to know what's going on with property crime. It's very interesting what's happening. Our property crime is driven by vehicles. Either someone is stealing something off your vehicle, they're actually stealing something from inside your vehicle, or they're stealing your vehicle. And that is what is driving our crime for total property crime in the county. That statistical category is the driver of property crimes in this county, with a high volume of property crime. And you look at this in 2023 and what happened with against 2022, and you could see the amount of the positive 1,052 from this time to that time, and that's a positive 60% in just total property crimes for what we're talking about. And if you exclude the Kias and the Hyundais, I know there's a lot of conversation going on around Kia and Hyundais who had just released a fix to this problem, the TikTok challenge. The TikTok challenge has added over almost 700 vehicles that were Kia and Hyundai to our stolen car mix. And that is the driver. So I put this in here because it's so interesting that if you exclude the Kia and Hyundais, we're a positive 21%. That's more manageable than being 60%. That's more manageable than being 1,000 offenses over and being at 376 without them. So that'll show you the impact that Hyundai and Kia, that TikTok challenge, that social media, YouTube, TikTok challenge, all over the country, this is happening because it's so easy to steal your Kia or your Hyundai. And if you look at total stolen vehicles with a positive 72, but if you exclude the Kias and the Hyundais for this year compared to last year, it's 76 in a positive, which will tell you the astronomical amount of stolen vehicles that we have that are Kias and Hyundais. It is our number one and number two stolen vehicle in the county and in many jurisdictions across the United States, all due to a social media challenge and people helping them by assisting them by not locking their cars, by leaving a charging card in the car, and doing other things to assist some of these thieves in these property crimes for turning their life